In national news this morning, NBA legend Irving Magic Johnson has been living with HIV for 30 years. Johnson recently sat down with CBS's Gayle King to talk about what life has been like after his diagnosis, which at the time was considered to be a death sentence.
At 66, Magic Johnson remains a basketball legend and symbol of courage. Behind his championships and fame lie struggles few know. From the collapse of his basketball identity to personal losses and tragedy, Magic has faced challenges that would break many. Join us as we reveal the heartbreaking tragedy of Magic Johnson, the tragic blow. At the age of 66, the name Magic Johnson is still an immortal symbol in the hearts of basketball fans around the world. He is remembered not just for his NBA championships with the Los Angeles Lakers, but for his extraordinary courage in facing life's hardest battles. Yet, even a legend like Magic Johnson is not untouched by pain. Reports indicate that the world watched in shock and heartbreak as Magic Johnson appeared visibly emotional at a recent press conference, where it was revealed that he has been diagnosed with cancer. Eyewitnesses described the moment as raw and emotional. Johnson reportedly paused several times to gather himself, with tears visible as he spoke. According to sources, he acknowledged having faced tragedy once in his life and overcoming it, but this time he is confronting cancer. The announcement reportedly left the room in stunned silence, with some attendees visibly moved to tears. Observers noted that the news carried particular weight, given Johnson's history of publicly battling HIV over 32 years ago. This isn't all. Magic Johnson experienced another tragedy recently with the passing of his dear friend and television star, Malcolm Jamal Warner. The loss struck him deeply, as he and Warner shared a long friendship built on admiration and meaningful conversations. Both had been huge fans of Warner's early work on The Cosby Show, and Magic continued to follow his career through shows like Malcolm and Eddie and The Resident. Johnson recalled that every time he met Warner, they would talk about basketball, life, and business, sharing laughs, stories, and thoughtful insights. Those moments left a lasting impact on him, and the absence of his friend is felt greatly. The basketball legend described Warner as kind, inspiring, and someone whose presence lit up every room he entered. Shortly after Warner's passing was confirmed, Johnson went on social media to offer condolences, sending prayers to Warner's family, friends, and loved ones during such a difficult time. For Magic, the loss was not just the passing of a public figure, but the heartbreak of losing someone close to his heart. This grief came at a moment when Johnson was already facing personal battles, reminding everyone that even heroes have moments of deep pain and struggle, challenges that continue to test their strength and spirit. What made this moment even more powerful was the reminder of who Magic Johnson is at his core. This is the same man who stepped up to a stage in 1991 to announce he was living with HIV, at a time when fear, stigma, and pain were stronger than compassion. Once again, he faced the world head-on, refusing to hide or run away from the truth. Speaking, he went further to state that he wants people to know that he will not give up. He has battled once, and this time he will battle through any illness again. Also mentioning that he believes he still has many reasons to continue living, to continue inspiring. Even now, with tears on his face but a determined smile, Magic raises his fist as a silent promise not to give up. It is further reported that he has begun initial treatment, surrounded by family, friends, and teammates who give him strength. In the eyes of fans everywhere, he is the immortal warrior, not just for his legendary career, but for the way he continues to confront life's harshest trials. Magic Johnson's life has never been without challenges, but perhaps the most defining battle came more than 3 decades ago at the height of his career. Back in 1991, The world did not understand the virus, HIV, the way it does today. Fear and rumors about it were everywhere. For a young man who had just brought glory to the Los Angeles Lakers, the news was painful, both personally and publicly. Magic faced the crushing reality with a bravery that shocked the world. He stepped up to a press conference, telling everyone the truth while tears ran down his face. He could have hidden, could have gone into a private life, but he chose to face the world head-on. The announcement shook the sports community and beyond. Some people doubted him, others judged him harshly, but Magic's courage became a piece of hope for millions of others struggling silently. Living with HIV was not just a medical challenge. Every day, Magic had to battle with the fear of stigma, the weight of public opinion, and the uncertainty of his own future. Simple things like attending public events, interacting with fans, or even shaking hands became acts of courage. Doctors, family, and friends became his support, but the mental and emotional battles were his alone. He fought to live like a normal person, for dignity, and for the chance to inspire others. Over the years, Magic became more than a basketball legend. He became a symbol of hope and strength. He showed the world that a diagnosis is not a sentence, that life can still be full and meaningful even in the face of unimaginable fear. His battle against HIV shaped his identity, preparing him for every challenge life would throw next, including the devastating cancer diagnosis that now tests his courage once more. This brings us to even deeper pain he faced. Besides battling illness, he also had to live in the public eye. Every step he took, every word he said, was watched by millions. The same spotlight that cheered his basketball victories now made his struggles feel even harder. Pain from the spotlight. After facing HIV, Magic Johnson's life was not easy. He had to deal with many challenges that most people could not imagine. Magic had to get used to living with fear and uncertainty. Doctors' visits, tests, and treatments became part of his daily life. Some days, he felt scared about the future and unsure of what was coming next. But he did not give up. He found strength in his family, friends, and fans who reminded him that he was not alone. Their love and support helped him keep going even when things were hard. Living under so much attention was also very emotional. Magic had to stay strong in front of the world, even when, inside, he felt weak. Basketball was everything to Magic Johnson. From the moment he picked up a ball as a child, it became more than a game. It was his passion, his purpose, his way of feeling alive. Every jump, pass, and victory gave him a sense of meaning. So, when he was suddenly told he could no longer play in the NBA, it felt like the ground had disappeared beneath him. At just 32 years old, the man who had dominated the court, brought joy to millions, and inspired an entire generation, was forced to step away from the game he loved. The shock of leaving basketball left Magic feeling empty, like a part of him had vanished. The routines he had built over decades, the locker rooms, the games, the cheering fans, all disappeared in an instant. He struggled to recognize himself without the ball in his hands, without the roar of the crowd, without the challenges that had once defined him. The man who was once unstoppable suddenly faced uncertainty, questioning his identity and purpose. Even with his incredible courage in other areas of life, Magic admitted to feeling lost and disconnected. He tried to find new ways to fill the void, to stay connected to the sport he loved, but nothing could fully replace the feeling of being on the court. Friends and family watched as he went through the sadness and frustration that came from losing what had defined him for so long. It was a silent struggle, one that only those closest to him could truly understand. This sudden collapse of his basketball identity marked one of the most painful chapters in his life. showing that even heroes have moments of deep tragedy and pain. And as Magic began to go through this new reality, it naturally led to the next challenge he faced: the struggles of attempting comebacks and facing public disappointment. After being forced to retire early, Magic Johnson tried to return to the game he loved. In 1992, he made his first comeback. The world watched, hoping to see the Magic on the court again. But not everyone welcomed him back. Some players felt uncomfortable, unsure how to react. The cheers of fans were mixed with doubt. The pressure weighed heavily on him. He wanted to play, to prove himself, but instead, he felt the sting of rejection. Magic's second attempt in 1996 was meant to be a redemption. He stepped onto the court with hope and determination, ready to remind everyone of his greatness. Yet again, things did not go as planned. The game had moved on without him. Younger players were faster, the strategies had changed, and the public's expectations felt impossible to meet. Each missed pass or lost game was more like interpreting to him that even a legend can struggle when life shifts around him. Hoping to stay connected to basketball, Magic tried coaching. He took the role with excitement, thinking he could guide a team with his experience and heart. But after only 16 games, the experiment ended in failure. The disappointment hit him hard. For a man who had always been praised for his talent, leadership, and vision, this felt like a personal defeat. His confidence, once unshakable, was destroyed. He questioned if he could still belong in the sport that had defined him for so long. These setbacks were painful, not just for his career, but for his sense of self-worth. The man who had once lifted championships now had to face his own limits, and the reality that life does not always follow the dreams we hold. Even as he struggled with these challenges as an adult, his early life was not any different. Magic Johnson's childhood was far from easy. Born into a family of 11 children, he grew up in a small, crowded house where space was always tight. Every corner of the home seemed full, and privacy was a luxury he never knew. Money was always scarce. His father worked 2 jobs just to make ends meet, while his mother cleaned classrooms in the early mornings and late evenings. Magic often saw the tired lines on their faces and the weight of worry they carried for their family. Even as a young boy, he understood the burden his parents bore. He saw them skip meals to make sure the younger siblings had something to eat. He watched them sacrifice their own comfort and happiness to provide a better life for their children. That reality hit him hard. Magic carried a deep sense of responsibility from an early age, knowing he had to succeed not just for himself, but for the entire family. Poverty also meant that many simple joys other kids took for granted were rare for him. But those hardships taught him lessons that money could not buy: resilience, determination, and the drive to rise above circumstances. Each struggle he faced at home became a silent fire that pushed him forward on the basketball court. Living in such close quarters with so many siblings also meant constant noise, competition, and little personal space. Yet, Magic learned patience, teamwork, and the importance of family bonds in those challenging years. Those early struggles, watching his parents work tirelessly, shaped the man he grew up to be. One of the most painful incidents he had to experience was the humiliation he faced while helping his father with garbage routes. As a young boy, he would ride along on the garbage trucks, waking up early to do the hard work alongside his father. While this work taught him responsibility and the value of hard labor, it also exposed him to cruelty from his peers. At school, other kids noticed his work and mocked him always. They laughed, called him names, and one painful nickname that stuck was Trash Boy. The teasing was not just playful, it was sharp and cutting, leaving Magic feeling embarrassed and small. He carried the weight of those words in his heart, feeling ashamed of something that was simply part of his life and his family's survival. The pain of being mocked went far beyond childhood. Magic didn't speak about these wounds for many years. They became invisible scars that shaped how he faced the world. Yet, this very experience also built a quiet strength within him. He learned resilience, endurance, and how to face ridicule without letting it define him. Rather, he turned past humiliation into determination. This wasn't all. Some other challenges came in a harsher, more visible form. When Magic Johnson was sent to a mostly white high school, he faced a world that felt cold and rejected him. The rejection he encountered was open and harsh, something he had never experienced before. On the bus to school, students would throw rocks at him. They shouted mean words and made him feel unsafe even before he stepped into the building. Every ride became a battle, and every day felt like he had to defend not just himself, but his very right to belong. On the basketball court, the rejection also continued. Some teammates refused to pass him the ball, leaving him sidelined even when he was capable of helping the team win. Coaches and classmates ignored him at times, making him feel invisible in a place where he should have been seen and valued. The isolation remained deeply, and anger often bubbled inside him. He questioned why he had to face such hatred for simply being who he was, for having the skills and the heart to succeed. This period of Magic's life tested him in ways that were both emotional and mental. It was not just about basketball. It was about finding his identity in a world that tried to push him down. Every insult, every act of rejection added weight to his shoulders. Yet slowly, he learned to use that weight as fuel. He realized that the world might not always be fair, but he could still rise above, proving his worth through hard work, talent, and perseverance. Even with such treatments, Magic never gave up on basketball or on himself. The lessons from his early difficult times shaped him into a pusher, preparing him for the heartbreak that would come with the devastating loss of his best friend, Reggie Chastine, at age 18. The devastating loss of his best friend. At 18, Magic Johnson faced one of the hardest moments of his young life. His best friend, Reggie Chastine, the one person who always had his back, was suddenly gone. Reggie had been there through childhood struggles, cheering him on when others doubted him. Losing him in a car crash felt like the world had stopped. Magic was crushed, his heart heavy with grief that seemed impossible to carry. Reggie was more than a friend. He was family. He was someone Magic could laugh with, share secrets with, and rely on without question. When Reggie passed on, Magic felt a hole in his life that no words could fill. The pain followed him everywhere, through high school, into college, and eventually as he stepped into the bright lights of the NBA. Memories of Reggie's laughter, his encouragement, and his belief in Magic's dreams troubled him. Yet, in the midst of the sadness, a quiet strength began to grow. Magic realized that Reggie would have wanted him to keep going, to chase his dreams with all his heart. That loss, as devastating as it was, became a driving force. Every time he stepped onto the court, every time he faced pressure or doubt, he carried Reggie's memory with him. It pushed him to be better, to push harder, and to never take a moment for granted. Even as he rose to fame and achieved greatness, that grief was never far from him, quietly shaping the man he would become. But alongside this pain, a new set of challenges came: injuries, pressure, and emotional exhaustion during his Showtime years, forcing Magic to struggle with battles both on and off the court. At the height of his career, Magic Johnson was the star of the Los Angeles Lakers, dazzling fans with his incredible passes, unstoppable drives, and infectious smile. The world saw the championships, the bright lights, and the endless celebrations. But behind the glory, Magic carried a heavy weight that few could imagine. From constant knee pains to backaches after long games, every practice felt like a battle against his own body. The injuries never fully healed, yet he pushed himself harder, refusing to let his team down. The pressure was huge. Everyone expected Magic to perform at his absolute best, night after night. There was no room for mistakes, no space to be human. Fans cheered, cameras flashed, and commentators praised him. But none of that eased the loneliness he felt. Fame brought attention, but it also built walls around him. He could not fully trust those who wanted to be his friend and who wanted to use his success. At times, he felt isolated, even in crowded arenas, surrounded by people yet deeply alone. The mental and emotional pain piled up. Traveling for games, enduring extreme schedules, and carrying the hopes of the Lakers dynasty drained him more than anyone could see. Despite smiling for cameras and lifting trophies, inside, Magic fought quietly to keep his mind and body strong. Each night, as he lay down to sleep, he carried the ache of his body and the weight of expectations, wondering if he could keep going. Even at the peak of his success, Magic's battles off the court were just as intense as those on it. The injuries, the pressure, and the emotional toll taught him lessons in resilience and determination, preparing him for challenges far beyond basketball. Magic Johnson's journey shows how strong a person can be, even when life is full of pain and challenges. He keeps pushing, inspiring millions, and proving that hope never passes away. His story is not just about basketball, but about courage, love, and heart. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe, and also click the next video shown on your screen.